I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit on a slightly different topic. I'm going to talk to you about what green space decision makers value in relation to health benefits from nature. So leading on from Yvonne's talk, what I'm really kind of focusing on specifically for the purpose of today are those values that people hold. And by values, we're not talking necessarily about money. We're talking about what's important to them. So the question I want you to keep in your heads right now is, who are the people who make green space available to us? What is important to them? And then do those values, does what has meaning to them, are they shared or do they differ? And what are the implications of those for all the rest of us? So let's kind of just think about the Irish context a little bit. The Irish census in 2016 said that there was just less than 4.8 million people in April. If you have a look at the map, you can see that we are a very, very small country, and our population, though increasing, is very, very small. But there are pressure points. You can see more population density towards the east, and we have problems with rural isolation and internal migration, particularly from areas like Donegal. In 2015, the Healthy Ireland Framework undertook the first ever national survey of health and well-being amongst the population, and they found that 13% of respondents indicated a problem with the lack of open public space. So we've got issues with increasing urbanisation, but as I said earlier, rural isolation, and also a problem with a lack of open, accessible space. So when we think about making green space available, it is complex. We need to also think that how we use green space, the places that we go to, and how we value it change throughout our lifespan. The places that we play as kids, the places that we take our dogs for walks, the places that we go to for walks as we age, they're all different, and we use them in different ways. So, who are the people who make spaces available to us, and how do we think about them a little bit? What did we find out? I'm going to introduce you to a number of characters now. If you take a look at the purple squares, these are the planners. Planners play a very important role in delivering green space, both proactively and reactively. They also interact with other strategies such as tourism and recreation, and they play a key role in delivering green space. Within local authorities, engineers also play a huge role in delivering green space at an area level in terms of new villages and towns, but also in terms of delivering local aspects of national plans, and they're also involved proactively within development plans and strategic environmental assessment. If you look at the yellow circles, these are also local authority staff, but these range from landscape architects, park staff within city councils, to heritage officers and biodiversity officers and environmental officers. So you can see that their role within green space varies quite widely from promoting use and raising awareness amongst the community of their local areas, but also managing and maintaining those areas. If you look at the red squares, these are the local conservation staff who would be asked to respond to planning applications and provide advice where developments, plans or strategies are likely to impact on protected areas. The blue stars are health promotion officers, and they would also be involved in responding to planning applications, but they also work with local authorities in terms of running events like Park Run and providing trails. So, I see now what's happened. Sorry, I didn't realize I was kind of looking at the slide. So, these were our 5 key stakeholders, and what we did was we asked them what their views were about nature. We asked them to talk to us about their personal views and what they thought other people's views were. And then we asked them, when we went back with a range of statements, we asked them to decide whether they agreed or disagreed with the statements. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about now. So, if you look at this slide, you will see that all our stakeholders strongly agreed that contact with nature benefited their health and well-being. From a mental perspective, they said that it allowed them to de-stress. what I suppose I really kind of want you to focus on is kind of not only did people have recognized benefits to their health and well-being from a mental point of view, they also had physical health benefits that they recognized. Taking that a step further, they also said that when they were connected to nature, they were motivated to look after it and protect it. So far, so good. Where are the problems? Well, if you take a look here, you'll see that engineers alone strongly agreed that a big green area where people can play sports is much more important than creating areas of biodiversity. If you take this another step further to looking at families with young children, engineers said that playgrounds and amenity areas were much more important than wild areas to them. When you look at the type of design of area, planners and health promotion officers both preferred open areas than closed woodland areas in urban settings. And when you look at the actual kind of ideal spaces that they identified, engineers alone again said that they preferred neat and tidy areas. Now, this is really, really interesting because at the very, very start, before I messed the whole presentation up, you'll remember that I said that all our stakeholders personally recognized health benefits from nature. So why then does there seem to be this kind of a disconnect? And if we look at their sort of the kind of 6 standard kind of urban green spaces and try to align them with our 5 stakeholder groups, you'll see that no one single green space is preferential to all our stakeholder groups. So remember that I said they have a personal value for nature. It is important to them. We also asked them to talk about other people and what they thought other people's values were. And funnily enough, engineers thought that most other people do not appreciate nature. They recognized a personal value to themselves, but they didn't think that other people did. So what does that really mean? What that really means is that all our different stakeholder groups need to talk more to each other about what's important to them, what is of value to them. And we need that not just to be amongst the kind of the people who take the decisions, but amongst the communities, amongst the people who can influence the decisions from the grounds up. And we need to kind of bear in mind that those spaces must accommodate society as it moves and changes throughout all our lifespans. Now, there were limitations to this because we asked them quite a lot of questions. The one question that we forgot to ask them was, how do their perceptions influence their work? How do they think their perceptions influence their decisions? And this is the question that we are setting about with our new project, which is funded by the EPA and the HSE. It's Nature and Environment to Attain and Restore Health. We are also asking a lot more people to be involved in the project as well. So I'm going to leave you with this final question, and I'm going to twist it a little bit. If you think about, kind of again, thinking about benefits and what we've heard about today, why can't we make spaces that are places where we can notice nature, notice a swallow and feel joy? Thank you very much, and my apologies for the mess up.